Why do I only create one video every month? Well, today I'm going to be walking you through my video creation process step by step so you can see exactly what goes into each cover release. Hey guys, it's Rachel Hardy, and today's video is going to be a bit different. Instead of hearing me sing, you get to hear me talk. Fun. So today I'm going to be walking you through my video creation process from start to finish, and I'm going to be using last month's video as an example of how it generally goes. So last month I released a big 21 Pilots collaboration of Mulberry Street with a bunch of musicians from around the world. Now, those of you who have been following the channel for a while know that I did a very similar video back in 2020 for the song Level of Concern, and this was a really fun experience, but it was also a very stressful experience, and the video didn't perform that well, so I told myself I would never do it again. And of course, I'm deciding now to do it again. There were a few things that didn't go great the last time we did this. One was that we stuck with the original key, which turned out to be a little low for my voice, and as a result of that, the energy was kind of lacking. I also had a really hard time editing that video. With all the video collages going on, my laptop couldn't handle it, so I had to do everything in small sections with super choppy playback, and that was just an awful experience. Big headache. So this time, of course, we're going to try to avoid those mistakes. I'm going to be leaving timestamps down in the description for each step of the process, so feel free to skip ahead to the parts that interest you. Okay, so step one is the boring part because it's just planning everything out. Usually this step is pretty simple because I just pick a song, listen to it lots, and try to form some ideas about what I want to add to the song to make my cover unique. And usually I do pick from Patreon suggestions for that step. There's always tons to pick from. They're always giving me new ideas. But in this case, I'm going to have to do some serious organization work before getting started. I've been a huge 21 Pilots fan since 2015, so with the release of their new album Scaled and Icy, as well as their amazing live stream performance, I knew I had to do something special with one of the songs from the album. And I love collaborating with other artists, so I thought, why not do another big collaboration? Let's do it again. So the first thing I need to do is scour the internet, find some people who want to be part of this, reach out and make it happen. Louis Alonso is going to be on electric guitar and synth, and he shares a lot of the passion I have for this collaboration. He was the first person that I found who wanted to be a part of it, and he's in a really cool band called Dinosaur 88. I found Adrian for drums, and he's really cool, and he'll provide the real backbone for the track. And I think if Josh Dunn saw this guy, I'm sure he'd be impressed. Seb Skelly is one of my favorite discoveries because he does these really insane brass arrangements, and he just has some really special musicality. I also found Rod Nieder, who was gracious enough to jump in on bass guitar last minute, since our first bassist had to take an unexpected trip. He has a ton of 21 Pilots covers on his channel, so I knew he would love to be a part of this. As for vocalists, I'm gonna reach out to zubbyzubz and Lauren Marie because I love both of their channels, and they have really blendable voices. But vocals will be the last thing to do in the recording process, so I still have some time. Okay, so now that we have everybody, I made a group chat on Instagram, and hopefully we're gonna get to know each other a little bit before we dive in. So usually at this point I would plan some sort of a FaceTime or Zoom meeting, just so that I can talk to everyone and meet everyone face to face. But we're still waiting to hear back from some vocalists, so we're gonna save that step for later. In the meantime, I've created this document with all of the information they would possibly need to start recording their parts and sending them in. So that includes important dates, like when I need audio and video submitted by, guidelines and formats, instructions, and some inspiration for the aesthetic. Staying in touch with my collaborators is obviously really important with something like this. So yeah, I'm really excited to get going on this project, and I'm glad everyone's in the group chat and we're ready to go. So usually at this stage, I would create the backtrack for my cover, which I find to be the most time-consuming part of the entire process. And I normally orchestrate and arrange all of this in Logic Pro using sample libraries. I find that the hardest part about this stage is just coming up with something that's unique and different than the original and the other covers out there. For this one, since we have people working on it from all over the place, we're gonna stick with the original arrangement just to keep things really simple. Right now I don't have too much to do because I'm just doing piano and vocals, but I do have some prep work to do just to make everyone else's job easier. So at the moment, I just need to create something that the others can record to. And I'm gonna make a few different versions just in case they have a preference on what they want to record to. So we're just gonna be transposing the song up a whole step. So I'm gonna drop the original track in here, I'm gonna transpose it up, and then I'm gonna add a metronome click. I also recorded my piano parts just because it's a pretty key element to the song, so I wanted that to be one of the first things to go in there. So I'll export one version of just the original transposed up with the metronome click, and then I'll also export a version with the piano and metronome click a bit higher in the mix, and the original tuned down a little bit, just so that people can choose what they prefer to record to. With one, they're going to be playing along with the track, and with the other, they're going to be able to hear themselves a little better. And then as people start to send in their parts, I can export new temp versions to put in the Dropbox. So I'll just be updating this as we go. And export. All right, so we sent that off to everybody, and now we wait. Hate this part. Thank you all for coming out to my show. This song is called Send Me Your Frickin' Tracks. I don't know how long I can wait before I lose my mind. Alright, so we got some tracks. We have drums, guitar, synth, and my piano parts, so I'm gonna put these together and start with that while we wait for the rest. At this stage, I won't do too much mixing yet since I want to spend more time on it once I have the full track. Everything sounds pretty good out of the box, but I'm having a hard time with the piano because I want that really fun honky-tonk sound that they have going on in the original, but I can't find a honky-tonk library anywhere. Currently, I just have the piano and Alicia's keys, but this is just not the sound that I'm going for, so I'm really hoping that I can find something else. So I guess now we just wait for the rest of the tracks to come in, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we just got bass and horn tracks, which means we have all the tracks. Putting these into the mix was actually so satisfying. The bass is actually kind of the star of the track because it's the whole groove starts with the bass, and the horn just adds kind of pure magic to it. As for my problems with the piano sound, my brother came to the rescue over the weekend and we used a library called The Gentleman. So we just took this library and we tweaked the heck out of it until it sounded almost kind of bad. We don't want any concert pianos on Mulberry Street, we want honky tonk. So we just kind of tweaked it until we got that sound we were looking for. When we were tweaking this piano, we kind of focused more on the initial attacks more than anything, just because we don't want the sound to be busy. So we wanted it to have a really sharp, aggressive sound so that it kind of pops out of the mix on its own. So here's what that piano sounds like. Then we layered this even worse quality lo-fi piano underneath, just super quietly, and that just kind of gave it that out of tune sound that we were looking for as well. And here's what they sound like together. And that's the sound, or at least that's as close as we're gonna get with it. So that's a big win. That was definitely stressing me out for a bit. Not that I was losing sleep over it or anything, just a little bit. Everyone else's part sounds pretty good as is. I know that they all did a little bit of mixing on their end, and that makes my job a lot easier. All I have to do is kind of just glue everything together and make it sound good. I know that's way easier said than done. This is probably gonna take me days. So now that we have everyone's part in here and we have a super, super rough mix, I'm going to export this and send it back to everyone. And that way they can just hear how it's sounding so far, and they can also start recording their videos so they can send those back to me, if they haven't already. Some of them already have. In the next few days, I'm probably going to be getting a lot of feedback from everybody on kind of their opinions on the mix, and then I can start tweaking things from there. Honestly, this mixing process is usually ongoing right up until the release of the video. I'll often finish the mix like the day before I post the video. So I kind of am always mixing while I'm doing other parts of the process. I wouldn't really consider myself a mixer, so I'm constantly going back and hearing things that I want to change, or hearing things that I don't like, or things that I need to add, and I'm constantly changing the mix. And with every single one of my covers, it always seems like the mixing process is never going to end. So as I start to get feedback, I will definitely be tweaking the mix a lot. I probably won't finish the mix until I have all the vocals, and then I'll really go in and dive in deeper and make sure it's just really polished and ready to go. So yeah, that is mixing. Today is singing day, my favorite day. Woo! So today is pretty simple. I just sing and I record it. That's pretty much it. So first thing in the morning when I have my coffee, I try to avoid milk just because it makes my voice really phlegmy and I want to avoid that at all costs. So I'm just gonna run through kind of my basic equipment really quick. So recently I've been recording on this Rode NT1, which is pretty new. I'm still getting used to it. I'm not really sure if I like it yet. I find that it needs a lot of EQing, which I'm not a fan of just because I'm lazy and I like things sounding good out of the box. But the one that I used before this one and the one that I used for 8 years and still use is the Audio-Technica 2020. And this is the one that I recommend to everybody just because it is so affordable, especially if you get it secondhand, like 60 or 70 bucks. And it's amazing. It sounds great out of the box. It's lasted me forever and I still use it to this day. Would recommend. I've also got obviously a pop filter to minimize the plosives. Sometimes when you do like a lot of those sounds, you're getting air in the microphone. I don't know how to explain this. You're releasing kind of like a puff of air, and sometimes when it hits the microphone, it makes just a really ugly sound. So the pop filter is important for that. They're super cheap. By the way, if you ever want to learn more about my equipment and what I'm using, I do put a link under all of my videos to my kit page where all of my equipment is listed, and that includes like my computer builds, what I use for filming and editing and music and all of that. Everything is there. So that'll be in the description if you want it. So I always do my vocals in a separate project from the Backtrack just because my iMac is kind of a potato, and if I try to do it all in one project, it'll probably crash, and that's just a nightmare. So I'll just take the exported instrumental Backtrack and I'll just drop it into this project, and then I'm good to go. I'm good to record, everything should run smoothly. So I'll usually sing through it like 2 to 4 times just to warm up, and then I'll record 4 to 6 takes. I always want to have a clear idea of what the lyrics are about before I start recording, just because I want to know what kind of emotion and feeling to infuse into the performance. And I think this is really, really important because listeners and viewers can always tell if you are really putting yourself into the performance and feeling what these words mean and what this music means. So I think for this particular song, I think the lyrics do have a lot to dig into. There's a lot to unpack. However, in true 21 Pilots spirit, we want to just make it super fun and upbeat and energetic, but I just want to give that just touch of like, there's something else here and I think you should dig into it, you know? You know? All right, so I'm done talking. It's really not that complicated. It's super simple. We just do it. We just do it. All right, so I'm gonna do this and I will catch you guys at the next step. Okay, so now that the vocals are recorded, I go through and pick out parts of the best takes and I piece them together with crossfades. I have a reverb preset that I've made custom to my voice that I can easily just put on there, but we're going to turn it down a bit for this particular track, since this isn't really my usual genre. Then we just add some normal adjustments like light compression and EQing. This particular song actually has a lot going on with the vocals that you don't really notice when you're just casually listening. There's a lot of layered chorus effect, which sounds like this. Yeah. Woo! And that's just layered underneath the main vocal at certain parts to give it a thicker sound. There's also a reoccurring echo, which I added a cool alternating pad to. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways, keep sidewalk your feet. At the chorus, the main vocal is duplicated and pitch shifted up an entire octave, which sounds like a chipmunk when using a built-in pitch shift tool, but it sounds a little bit better with Melodyne. Away, we're pushing sideways. Still a little bit chipmunky, but we'll mix this pretty low. Oh yeah, and we also have the vocal pitch shifted an octave lower over here. Mulberry Street, so good to see you. While we're at it, we're gonna also add in our other vocalists who sent in their tracks the other day. I'm going to pan Zubz a bit to the left and Lauren to the right so they each kind of have their own space in the track, and add just a tiny bit of chorus on their tracks.
Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah.
They also recorded some really great background stuff to use in the last chorus, so I'll stick that in there as well.
Get out of our way, we're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet.
I'm gonna have to come back and adjust some things here later, but for now I'm gonna export these vocals and bring them into the full track just to hear how everything sounds together. Once I do that, then I'll export it and then I can use that track for filming. Filming day. So filming day is one of the most tiring days for me just because it takes so much time to set up and take down all the equipment, and then I also have to man the camera, adjust lighting, remember all my words, and have fun all at the same time. My routine for filming starts the night before. I charge all of my batteries for the camera and the portable lights, and I make sure my memory cards have enough space. This time I'm also trying out a new Sigma lens. On the day of, the first step is setting everything up, which can take anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour. So today we're going to start out with a black background, which is actually just a black sheet that's taped to the wall, and then we're going to move to a green screen. Getting the lighting right, I find, is the hardest part. It usually does take me a while, but I do have this really handy app on my phone that lets me check what the footage is looking like, just so I don't have to keep filming and taking test footage and all of that. Once setup's all done, I will get ready and then I'll film more footage than I need. I always want to have more than enough footage because I don't want to have to set up everything again. I'm way too lazy for that, so I just want to have to do it once. Once filming is done, I celebrate by doing nothing for the rest of the day. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Hey guys, I'm back early from vacation to start editing the video, and I'm actually really excited for this part because I just know it's gonna go a lot smoother than it has in the past. So I will no longer be editing on my laptop. I recently got a custom video editing computer from RGB Custom PC, and I'm really excited to use it. And so far, for my last few videos, it's been working absolutely wonderfully. But we will really be putting it to the test with this video because this video is going to be a lot. We have so much video footage to layer, and I want to use a lot of effects and green screens and all of that kind of stuff. So this is really gonna be the ultimate test. All of the footage has been sent in on time, which is great, and I keep all of that on a Samsung T7 drive. So I currently use DaVinci Resolve, which is a free video editing software that is fantastic, and I just started using it recently. So I usually just edit as I go. I don't go into it with too much of a plan, but this time I do want to play into some of those 21 Pilots references, like the TV control room, and also I want to incorporate the Good Day Dima logo, just to give it that live broadcast propaganda vibe. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, oh my goodness, the top lore goes deep. Alright, so this is going to be a hefty process, so I'm cracking open the Pringles. This video is not sponsored by Pringles, but I wish it was. Alright, let's get into this.
One eternity later.
So after a few days of video editing, the video is finally done, and it actually went really, really well. I did optimize the media at the beginning, but I was able to play it back at full quality and no stuttering. For the amount of layers I have in this project, I'm thoroughly impressed. I don't know if you guys can see that from there, but towards the end, I have about 10 videos playing simultaneously, and they all have color grading and effects and all of that. There's even a green screen video in there. So it handled really well, and I'm gonna give this new computer an A+. So the video rendered in about 3 minutes, which is very impressive considering just the sheer amount of layers and grading and effects. To put that in perspective, I think a project like this on my laptop would take 2 to 3 hours and maybe more to render, so you better not make any mistakes at that point. It just went so well, and I'm not used to things going this smoothly at this stage. It's such a good feeling. This new PC is a game changer for me because it takes all of the stress and frustration out of this part of the process. The team at RGB Custom PC did an excellent job with the computer and they made everything just super easy. I don't know too much about computers, so all I had to do was tell them what I needed it for and they did the rest, and it turned out really great. And did I mention how good it looks? It looks so good. Honestly, I could not recommend RGB Custom PC more. And if you are looking to get a new PC or a custom build, I'm gonna put the link to their website in the description. And if you DM me on Instagram, I can get you a fan or a case upgrade. Super cool. Thanks, RGB Custom. So now that the video edit's done, I'm actually gonna go back to the audio mix because there's still stuff I wanna clean up. So yes, I'm gonna go do that. So today is the last day that I have to work on the mix. I'm running out of time. Today's the 27th and I want to get it out by the 29th. So I just have a couple days. Nothing is ever perfect, so there comes a time where you just need to stop and let it be what it is. And I'm kind of at that point now, and I go through this with pretty much every single one of my videos where it never feels fully ready. The mix can always be better, but you can't work on it forever. So I did one last mix and today I'm gonna send it to Cam and Adrian and then we're gonna call it a wrap on the mix. I promise. We're not gonna do any more mixing. We're done. It's done. Like I said earlier, I like to set up a call with my collaborators just to make sure we're all on the same page before release. And unfortunately things got so busy this month that we hadn't done that yet. So some of us were finally able to chat even though our time zones are all over the place, which was really fun and really refreshing. So once we wrap the mix, the only things left to do are those general prep tasks. So that's like writing the description, making the thumbnail, doing tags, scheduling release, posting on social media, all of that. And these things take a lot longer than I think a lot of people realize, so I always leave like a full day to do all of that. So before I go to bed, I set my alarm early and I get ready for the release the next morning. Premieres are so much fun and I love interacting with my audience and seeing how people react to the video. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Except this time, I did. So my alarm didn't go off this morning and I completely missed the premiere. Freaking sucks. I woke up 16 minutes after the video premiered, and after spending weeks on this passion project, I wasn't there to release it into the world. Views were down, people were saying they weren't getting notifications from YouTube, and just nothing was really going right. So I was a little bit grumpy this morning. But then something really cool happened. Tyler Joseph from 21 Pilots liked the video on Twitter. So that was that kind of turned my day around, actually. It sounds like such a small thing, but this band has been really important to me for a number of years. And so just the fact that, you know, he saw it and liked it and thought that what we did was cool, it really meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot to the others as well. So in the end, I'd say this video was a success, even though it didn't get the views that some of my other videos get. Views aren't what matter. We had a lot of fun putting this together, and I think, you know, it's been such a crazy year this year that if we're just able to bring joy and music to someone just for a couple minutes, it's worth it to us. So we hope that you enjoyed coming along on this journey with us, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing what my process looks like every month. I was really excited to make some new friends and do something different. I'm going to be putting the link to the original video in the description, along with links to the channels of all the artists in the video. Please do go show them some love. They deserve it. They worked really hard and they did an amazing job. I also wanted to say a huge thank you to my Patreon family. You guys truly do make these videos possible, and I just appreciate you so, so very much. You guys are just an amazing, fantastic, incredible community, and I know that you guys always have my back, so thank you for helping this channel to grow. You know, I couldn't do it without you, so thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope it gave you a little sneak peek to what happens behind the scenes. I'm gonna wrap it up here because it's time for me to go back to step 1 and create a new cover. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye!